You've reached Can I Call You? How can I help?
I need help. Is my relationship in trouble?
Can I call you? You've called 8 times. What is going on? Hi, you've reached Can I Call You? How can we help you?
Welcome to Can I Call You? I'm Emma.
I'm Charlotte.
And I'm Eva.
We're three founders at different life stages who are here to answer your late night questions. Today, we are going to be talking about changes in your friendships as you get older and friendship breakups. Is everyone excited?
Yes.
Did you eat breakfast this morning?
I don't eat breakfast.
It's not. It's not morning. It's 11.
Yeah.
It's 11 p.m. at night.
Did
This
you
is a
eat
late night
breakfast
radio
for
show.
Wow, way to give up the mystery. Keep the mystery
It looks
alive.
like it's dark in here.
It's
It could be
true.
11 p.m.
It's true.
All right,
It is
so let's
11
talk
p.m.
about one of the worst
I'm
things to
wearing
do
my
in
pajamas.
friendship, which is trying to keep any sort of mystery alive. Let's go. Friendship.
Okay, so first question on deck today. Are we ready?
I'm
We
ready.
are.
I have a lot of opinions on this one,
Yeah,
but I'm going to
I've
let you
had
guys talk.
I've had a few friendship breakups too, which have
Ooh.
been
Same,
brutal.
actually.
Same, but with male friendships.
Oh, can't relate.
Interesting.
I don't have male friends. Except for you two, obviously.
Except for the men behind the camera, we like them. First question on deck is from Katie.
Hey, can I call you? I need some help. Is it okay to quiet quit a friendship?
Yes. Well,
I need so much more context because is this like one of your best friends or is this
Yeah.
somebody that you met in a bar, then friended on Instagram and then haven't like and kind of like each other's pictures,
Let's
right?
assume
I'm going
this
to
is
make
like-
the
yeah.
assumption that they're a close friend, maybe not their best friend, but someone that it would be significant if they just stopped texting them.
although, I feel like if they're quiet quitting, it feels maybe there's a
Yeah.
life change on the other side of the friend. Okay, we'll get into that later. But
I want to hear what you think because I have a pretty strong opinion on this.
okay, so weirdly, this has to do with this show because
Are you quiet quitting us?
I'm quite. No,
You're-
I'm not quite.
Emma's
Don't text me
retiring.
back, Emma. I will
She
find
got
you.
7
I am now
episodes in and she's like,
42,
I'm done now.
No. I get a lot of, we know this, we all get them in different forms, like, can I call you? I need this, da da da. And the tone of my friendships as I've gotten older has been, I need something from you, but it's not reciprocal. And so there's been a period of time, especially over the past year or two, where I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to reach out and see who reaches out. And in that, I feel like I've quietly quit some friendships, but
Only because you weren't
arguably
stoking
they're
it.
not reciprocal.
Okay,
I do the same.
I
Yeah.
actually have done the same thing too. Wait.
You have quite quit a friendship.
Well, I'm just actually curious. I call it curiosity because the thing is, it's like dating. If you're constantly coming up with the dates, if you're constantly coming up with the ideas, and the person is only engaging with you when you are offering, when you're giving to them constantly, because this is like a tick that I have, because it's like, it's rooted in like insecurity, where it's like, you're like, okay, I'm going to keep overperforming and overcompensating in order to keep the person. What ends up happening is that you realize that like you're in a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept it with a man, so why would I do it with a friendship?
And I think if you're able to quiet quit, if that's even crossing your mind, then you probably don't have a reciprocal friendship anyway.
Yeah, because it would be awkward if you just ghosted all their texts.
Exactly.
And if they're not texting you, then it's easier to quiet quit. I actually have the same
Because the word
theory.
quiet is the description here that is the most important piece of
They
this.
just sort of
They've
phase
been quiet
out.
and you're just
and they say
reciprocating
nothing.
quiet.
Yeah.
Girl, you quit. You're
yeah.
done.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I'm like, why? I think also, I don't know if it's the same for both of you, but I'm very much the like, I always plan the dinners, or I'm like, I don't know, admittedly over the last year with work and concussion, I've been less good at it, but like, I usually have always been like, let's do this, or like, who's free, or can we go here? And I've noticed over the last year and a half, like, who's actually done that back.
Totally.
And it's not as many people as I would have thought.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no energy, literally from a health perspective, no energy. And I also run a company, no energy. So like, why do I have to keep putting in the effort?
Yep.
And yeah, so I fully agree with the quietness of quitting a friendship in that it's just like, if you don't reach out, what happens?
Yeah.
I also think I have many friends. I just picked up the phone with my best friend over the weekend. We don't talk. We talk like every 2 or 3 months. And it was amazing to catch up. So if there's no animosity, we need to know more about this. But let's go through a scenario. This person's a total dickhead. Quit that shit. Like, get out of there.
Or loudly quit.
That's what I was going to get into. Because I've actually had a situation where a friend felt like I wasn't reciprocating, and then out of nowhere, they blew up on me. And for me, because I am a people pleaser, I immediately apologized, but I didn't know what I was apologizing for. I was in my late 20s, and I remember I was getting text message after text message, like increasingly like acrimonious, like accusing me and stuff, like saying really hurtful things. And I was like, I'm just not answering this anymore, which was a big deal for me in my late 20s because I'm very much so like, I want to make people happy. I never want to be in fights with anyone. And that was a really big learning for me. When somebody's just like screaming at you over text, unless if you're getting an apology or something, you don't have to respond.
No.
And I actually just have not spoken. No, that person called me 1 year later to accuse me of something absolutely insane. And I was like, oh, I forgot to block you. And so then I just blocked the person. And honestly, blissful.
I think
love
the
that.
thing is that Katie doesn't feel like she can talk to them. And that's totally fair. A lot of people you don't, it's not even.
Katie might end up with the me situation.
Katie might end up with these,
Yeah.
but also I think she needs to ask herself, like, what does she want? And something I feel like is so critically important is, some friends you're like, I'm good. I can see them every 2 months and we pick up where we left off and we have dinner and we sort of figure it out. It's fine. Some you're like, this is really one-sided. And then others, you just straight up are like, why am I friends with this person? It doesn't make any sense. And I think if she is like, I'm thinking about quiet quitting, and that's because she's not getting anything out of it, fade away, see what happens. If she comes calling or he comes calling.
I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
Go.
How do you both feel about closure? Because I actually don't know if closure exists in the way that we think it does.
I don't think
We're
it's
talking
that
about
important.
revenge closure because I am a proponent.
Are you pro?
I think that's just called revenge, not revenge closure.
Okay, so to Emma,
Alcohol revenge closure is a thing.
okay, so to
Revenge is
Emma,
a form of closure.
right. Listen, we learn something new every day. I now
We could
know.
talk about revenge.
I wanna know your
Let's do
revenge.
I have some good ones, but let's get into that in a second.
Yeah.
So,
I've had it
Closure.
where I think that also like quiet quitting a friendship is like you could also just be choosing to like similar to you do like ignore maybe an argument or just be like I can't deal with this. And I actually had it with a friend. This was like must have been like 8 or 9 years ago now, who was in a pretty toxic relationship at the time, and we didn't live in the same country. She came to visit me, and I'm not someone who holds back on opinions if I think my friend is in a harmful position. And so I basically was like trying to make sure she was okay, and she fully booked a flight the next day and left, and we didn't talk for like 6 months, and then she came back and apologized. But I was like,
told ya. Eating your
like,
chips.
Since then, we like has not been the same ever.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, I actually don't have the like, we don't live in the same country. I don't have the time. And so it's like, you're kind of like, that's not real. It's kind of a friend breakup. We don't dislike each other by any means. Like if she was here, I'd see her. But I do think there's something to like just quietly leaving
Yeah.
a scenario.
And I think sometimes like you both grow up
don't
and
need
you're
the closure.
actually
Me too.
growing up differently. And I think
Yeah.
that this has happened to me with another friendship where like they felt like I wasn't reciprocating. But for me, I'm like, you never text me. You never call me. I was like, the only way that we stay in touch. Like I remember when we were friend breaking up, because I actually did get a little bit of explanation and closure there. She was like, well, this other friend calls me every Tuesday at 11 a.m. And so you should pick a time. And I was like,
Pick a time.
No.
No.
I was like, this is not going to work for me. Like, I like wish you nothing but the best. And then she very much so like did not invite me to her wedding. And I was like, did
Honestly,
I misremember
I hope
this?
no one ever invites me to a wedding again. We should have
but
an
then
entire
but
thing
you
about
don't wanna
weddings.
come
and
to
then
my
I
wedding?
remember, I was like, because I'm
Okay,
petty
you
sometimes.
can't
I'm
come
like,
to my wedding.
Yours.
no, I'm like,
Not
did
that
I,
I'm getting
did I
married.
misremember this? And like, it's actually written down in email. And I was like, okay, no, I didn't. Because I was like, maybe I should reach out to her. And I was like, nope, there's a reason why. And so I don't know. I think also sometimes you just grow up and you have very different expectations. For me, I don't expect people to call me, but like when I show up in your city and we are close, and my definition
Make
is like we've
time.
spent years together in some part of our lives, like we're going to pick up right where we left
Totally.
off. And I have a handful of people like that in almost every city. It's beautiful. And then I have like 4 friends where I'm like, I could not see you for 5 years. And then I will then we will hang out and it will be fucking incredible. And that to me is like, that's friendship.
That is friendship. I also think some friends are not the older you get, like some friends are just not meant to be deep friends.
Exactly.
You have
Just not
wine
the
with
same.
them, you just see them, fine. But the ones, okay, I have a really random story. I once interviewed this very old man for a job. I was an editor of it's a long story. Anyway, I interviewed this older guy, and he once said to me, he's like, I think it's hard for women in relationships to be friends with single women the older they get, because the longer you're in the relationship, if the person is really looking for their person and they start to sort of identify their friendships as that filler, and that's where I think it gets a little tricky. It's like you have to figure out what is the dynamic, and if you're in a partnership, which we all are, we kind of have the person we talk to all day every day, and that's enough. After running a company and having employees and dealing with people, like, you're basically like, I don't have much left to give, so
choosing
you're
who
not
you
my
give it
second
to.
spouse.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about quiet quitting, then you do need to end the friendship.
Yeah.
Katie,
So to Katie,
get out of there.
you're clearly not happy.
To Katie, sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless.
Never write them again.
See if they reach out.
Actually, that's even better.
Just take a pause. Take a brief pause, see what happens.
Yeah, I think she should just go.
I think she should
Don't
take a
answer.
pause.
Yeah.
If they reach out with something sincere, you can consider why you wanted to quit the friendship. But if they're too much for you right now, just take a pause.
Also,
My mum
people
always
are who they
says-
are. Like, you're not going to get more
Yeah.
out of that person.
Well, my mum has always said, she's like, sometimes there are friendships which you just put in the box and put the box on the shelf. And sometimes you might take the box off the shelf again at some point in the future. But other times it might just be for that moment in time.
It's true.
So, Katie, maybe give that a go.
It was fun. Put it in the shelf.
Try organizing.
Try organising your shelves.
Spring cleaning.
Little spring clean of a friendship. It never hurt anyone. Okay, next question is from...
Is it on friend breakups again?
It's a little bit different, but
Okay.
yes. It's not a friend breakup. It's a change in a friendship.
Oh. So who's our caller?
Paloma. Paloma asks,
My best friend has gone into a relationship hole for the last year. I feel bad because I'm happy she found someone and she's been single for 7 years. But I'm also really sad because I miss her and I don't know how to share this with her.
Okay, here's the thing. Boys are exciting for like a year, and then you get out of it. She's gonna come back. She'll
she?
need you. Yeah,
I don't know,
maybe.
some don't.
Did she join a cult? Because if that, then
I love that you
no.
always take it to that level.
Then it's a lost cause.
Yeah,
Paloma,
then-
I'm sorry you no longer have a best friend.
Tell her she can always blink twice. I don't know. I've gotten into relationship holes, but I will say that like my healthiest relationships are the ones where I maintain strong friendships outside of it versus trying to find everything in one person.
I just
So
invite Ian
she'll come
along,
back out,
and
but
then
you're
like
but you're in honeymoon.
No, that's a problem in and itself.
Ian's great.
Yes, but it's great.
Okay,
but
okay, 17 years.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
teasing.
17 years,
He
3
also-
years.
6-ish.
Okay, 6-ish. About 1 year was when I was in my I still am very happy, but like it was like a drug.
We love Joel.
Yeah, I love Joel
I've
too.
never met him actually.
I love Joel too. But like that is some intense, was it oxytocin? Like what was being released and coursing through my veins?
But you're also determining like the dynamic of that relationship, and if you want to be in it, and if you want to like grow with this person, and
I also brought him around my friends a lot. So I don't know, it's a year. A year is not enough time because you're still in honeymoon phase.
But I do feel it like sets the tone for like how you value your friendships, especially if it's a more like adult relationship, as though like say you're this person's starting dating in their 30s, or I don't know, one of you's in your sort of 30s. I do think that it makes you maybe concern for future what's the word, dynamics,
Right.
like if this person, like if you really haven't seen your best friend, or they're not reaching out, or it's like a completely different like dynamic between you and your friend, what does that mean when they get married or move away or have children?
I mean,
or
children
any of
is
these
the big
things?
one.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say people's like
We'll
the
save
other
that
thing
one
is
for
what
later,
is the
though.
I know what is the nugget of their relationship, right? So you have friends in your life, and you sort of figure out what you're going to talk about later, what is between the two of you. That has to grow, which I think often people don't realize. So if this friend is the friend that she goes out with all the time, yeah, it changes when you're in a relationship.
That is
This
actually so true, because it's
Right.
like you're just not, you also just have more engagements because you're sharing a life. But what I will say is what Paloma asked, which is a good question, is that she's like, how do I bring it up? And the reality is like if this is a very good friend of yours, then you just bring it up.
Yeah.
And you take her out for a coffee or for drinks. Say, hey, like I would love to maybe this person was the planner all the time. Are they planning less because they're now planning with their partner? Okay, maybe you should come to the table with some plans. But the thing is, what I will say is I have a very hard time bringing up conflict because I have a hard time asking for what I want. In business, much less so, but especially with personal relationships, friendships, anything that feels like a friendship, because that can sometimes then get into work. I have a really hard time asking for what I want, and I'll take on a lot. I've gotten so much closer with friends and even in work, where I'm like, I raise my hand and I'm like, hey, I'm actually struggling here. Like, can you help me? And when the person doesn't throw it in your face or make it about them or make themselves the victim, and they're like, oh, I really don't like seeing you in pain. How can we work on this together? That's a real friendship, and it will make you stronger. And so talk about it.
Yeah. So the suggestion would be maybe to don't be super confrontational about it. But my advice would just be like, just being honest, being like, hey, what's Paloma's friend's name?
I just want to throw something out here, though. Paloma was not in a
You don't want to concept what Paloma's friend's name is with me?
Paloma's friend was single for 7 years. So not knowing how long Paloma and said friend, we'll call her Paloma and Spaloma. No, I don't know. What do I? Beth and Paloma. Not knowing how long Beth and Paloma have been friends is a little difficult, right? Because if in the 7 years when let's say they were both single, that dynamic will be forever changed. And so they've got to sort out what their dynamic is. But like, also give her a minute. 7 years single, she's having a good year. Like, you got to give her a second.
Yeah. I guess we also don't know if Paloma is herself in a relationship.
Paloma, what you doing, girl?
Are you
Hold
in a
on, please.
relationship? Shall we dial her up?
Hey, Paloma, what's going on? How's your boyfriend? Oh, you don't have one? No, I'm not sure. I think you have to give her a second after being single for 7 years.
Or invite her out and see what she says.
So how about we say our advice to Paloma is give her a second. Don't expect it to go back to normal. But also say to her, like, I really miss you. I'd love if we could spend some more time together.
Yeah.
How's next week for dinner?
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I wrote the text. You're welcome, Paloma.
She heard you.
Take notes.
Okay. And the final question for today is actually one that I have many thoughts on.
Revenge.
It's not revenge, but we will get there. Maybe we need a whole episode on
revenge.
revenge.
I think we need a revenge episode.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer in it.
And so
only to the
final caller of the day is called. Finally, we have Christina has called in, and Christina would like to know,
is it normal to grieve when a close friend gets married or has kids?
Yes.
So yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I know.
I've had friends tell me that they are sad that I'm in a relationship, not because they aren't happy that I'm in a relationship, but because they know that we are not going to spend as much time together because already your time is split in half.
Are you less fun now?
I would say I'm probably more fun with Joel because he's the fun one in the relationship, which is a weird one for me because normally that's my job. And I was like, oh, this is loud. Love it. But I think it's totally normal to do that. And like, I'm trying to have kids right now. And when I told a couple of my friends, like they're so happy for me, but like I felt like a little bit of guilt because like I think that they know like they're already seeing me less, and now it's going to be even less. There's like that 5-year period when you're raising kids where it's like I've had friends completely fall off the map, and then 5 years later they're like like ready to come up for air and hang out. But it's a lot.
It's hard. Yeah, I actually in the last 3 weeks have had 5 friends give birth to their first or second child.
Whoa.
Literally all within, like, I think one of them is giving birth, like, right now. Like, actually. And
how are you feeling about this?
I feel like I'm genuinely, like, very happy for them because I know that they all, like, wanted children. But it is interesting because I think certainly when you're in your early 30s, it is that phase where like a lot of people do get married, they do start having babies or thinking about it. They're like, but I think the conclusion I've come to is that in New York, you do live in Peter Pan land a little bit. Like even your friends who are married or have children, they don't really feel, it doesn't feel that different because everyone is.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah, like everyone is like 15 minutes away. And
Except this afternoon.
but I think that, yeah.
Night. this night.
Except for
this cold, rainy
except
night.
for 11 p.m. But I do think that if people were to start moving to the suburbs or moving away, that would be my equivalent of when I would like actually feel a level of grief. But I did have the other day, I was like, I saw this like really cool concert that me and a friend like probably would go to, but it's in 3 weeks' time and she just gave birth. And I'm like, I was literally just about to text her. I'm like, oh wait, can't do that.
But maybe she'd want to go. You don't know.
No, I don't think so.
She's probably going to be
I
still
would
having
if
her
she went, I
fucking
would be like
inflatable.
I would be like
cushion.
astounded because I wouldn't go if I were her.
Yeah.
Listen, there's this one woman that I went to that invited me and Joel to this thing in Mardi Gras because he's from New Orleans. And like, I think it was like maybe a month or two after giving birth, like incredible, like, yeah. So January to February, she was pumping on the float. She was partying.
I mean, good for her.
And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, that will not be me, but I am so happy for you. You seem great.
Yeah, but I do think it's very normal to grieve friendships. It's like, it's almost like it's not necessarily a grieving of the friendship, but more like of that era of like girlhood or like silliness or where your friends are your family. It is that
The good news is by the time you're my age, sort of your age, but you know what I mean, they're like, hey,
back again.
my kid's 10 and I'm ready to hang out. So yeah,
They come back.
It will come back.
And that's where it's like there are seasons with friendships. And for me, I will say that I give any of my friends who have kids or who have really intense jobs like a lot of leeway because I know that there's a lot of factors that you cannot control.
Yeah.
What you do control is that I know that you love me and you check in on me. And that's what I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think there's, to my point about all three of these questions, like what is the fabric of your friendship? And many friendships can stand the test of time and all the eras that you go through. But I think your mom's right, goes on the shelf with the Sharpie.
Yeah.
See you later,
Yeah.
2015.
Well, I'm like, this
You
might
mean
be
30?
another. This might be.
2030.
Wait, but
5
this.
years from
I
now.
actually am curious what y'all think about
No,
this.
I'm saying in the past.
Oh, in the past.
Oh, okay.
No, not 50, 15.
But I feel like also in today's like Instagram and like TikTok psychology, so many people talk about boundaries and like how sacred their boundaries are, but then they don't understand that to have friendship, it requires work on both ends. And
Yeah.
sometimes you will be uncomfortable, but you do it as a form of sacrifice for the other person. Like for me, I'm actually pretty introverted, but I know that
I
like
say so many things that surprise me.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
go
actually
back
pretty-
and unpack them.
I'm pretty introverted. But I think with this,
People-pleaser, quiet.
yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah,
We need to hang out
it's
more.
my Scorpio moon. I don't know what to tell you, but it's really, but like no, and I think it's like fascinating to me, like because I've had like people kind of like come at me like my boundary, and I'm like okay, fine, like my boundaries, like two can play this game. Like
Yeah.
I find it almost like this armchair psychology is like a tool of like almost like manipulation.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. What I will say is that to maintain friendships, you need to be a little bit pliant. Like you can't be super rigid. And so for me, there's always seasons. As long as I feel like you've never disrespected me, and as long as if you're not disrespecting others, and we have like a good relationship, I'm actually not too plussed about when you're coming into my life and out of my life.
I am
Yeah.
so excited for us to be these old ladies in Italy with some Campari because I am tired of this armchair psychology bullshit and friendships. Can't we just be old people and just be saying what we want to say with like, come on.
I want to be old now.
I want to be old now. Like I want to just be like, I don't.
Let's do it. Can I call
Change
you?
your sweatshirt. It looks like
Call
shit.
us.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes. Ugh. That's what
okay,
this
so
show was born on. Truth.
It was. Truth.
It wasn't born on.
Answering questions honestly.
Yeah.
So in that spirit, Christina, yes, it's extremely normal.
Light
to
a vigil.
grieve.
Have a candle. I
To
don't know.
grieve when a close friend gets married or has kids because it is marking a change and not necessarily a change. It's like a change that you didn't choose.
Yes.
And like that can often feel more jarring. And
Are you both good at like diversifying friendships as
Yeah.
you go along?
Well, I think with also this is opening up like a new because like what we didn't say is that it's also really beautiful to hang out with like your friends' kids, and like I say this to my friends
Is it?
all the
I'm like,
time.
Is it?
I say this, okay, Eva. I don't
Only
give a,
some
I don't
of
give a
them,
fuck.
not
I
all
don't-
of them.
Eva, I don't give a fuck. I don't like that many people's kids, and
Okay,
actually
great,
some of my
thank
friends'
you.
kids.
Someone said
some
it.
of my friends' kids. Yeah, they're annoying. They're kids. But what I will say is like my friends are people that are some of like I respect them so much. They're so fucking smart. They're so funny. They're so cool. They're so multifaceted. I'm like, oh my god, these kids are so lucky to be raised by you.
yeah, but what happens when the kid
And-
is like kind of a dud?
I haven't seen that yet, thankfully.
I have.
Tell me about them.
Thankfully it's not my friend, but
Does the
Oh, so
parent
that doesn't
think?
even count.
it's my boyfriend's friend.
But that doesn't count.
Do the parents think that the kid is cool?
No, obviously not. I mean, I think they don't think they're a dud. They obviously love them. But like, I've met.
What do you mean by a dud?
You're just like, you're like, really? Like,
What is duddy about them?
I don't want to give specifics because it might give them away.
Speaking of armchair psychology, at some point this kid
But
is
I
going to
do
be like,
think
this
it's.
one lady.
I also agree with you. I love like seeing my parents also like my parents. I love seeing my friends become parents. That's so cool. It's like a new thing that you're.
Well, you're also
experiencing
like,
of your
this
friend.
kid is lucky.
That's
Yeah,
so nice.
I agree.
I really do see
agree.
that. Like,
Yeah.
one of my friends, like, she has 2 girls, and I'm like, the way she talks about them and how she's like helping them through life, I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm
when
like
I
almost
watch
brought
them
to
parent.
tears.
Yeah, when I watch some friends parent, I'm like, wow, you're a really good parent.
Literally, and like so patient. And I'm like taking notes. I'm like,
Whereas I'm
don't
like, can I leave? I'm like so
yell.
frustrated.
So listen, kids who are like 10 and above, 10 to 13, they're great. I think they're
Really?
great.
Kids who
actually-
are 25 love them.
I think it's
Love
like
the 38-year-old kids.
0 to 3, and sometimes maybe up to 5. A few kids I know that are 5
Teenagers
are very cute.
are scary.
Yeah, but like it's the 7 to 10 range for me that.
Oh, that's
I'm just
interesting.
saying,
Not a
back to the
fan.
question. What I'm saying to the question is that, yes, it's totally normal to mourn, but it is going to open up some really beautiful moments with your friend, and you absolutely can maintain friendships. Just be very patient with them, especially if they have children. The marriage
And
thing,
choose different
whatever.
things to do.
Also,
Unless
these
you
are
hated the
seasons.
boyfriend.
These
and
are
now,
seasons
yeah,
of their
whatever.
life. Like, you'll come out on the other side. You'll be those old ladies in Italy drinking whatever you want to drink, and hopefully you'll be maintained. So there is,
Okay.
well,
Well, there
there's
you go.
hope.
There you
There's
go,
hope.
Christina.
Also,
Yep.
don't you think sometimes people want to be like, I need a break from my kids. Like, I need you to be there for me. Don't give up on me. I'm sure there's plenty of people that feel that way.
Yeah, and like when they're feeling like they need to be sort of like rejuvenated or restored from their, like I had a friend whose like first dinner out post having kids was like last Friday, and she was like, I feel like I have so much more energy. I was so tired when I got here, but like she just like felt so much better by the
Rejuvenated
end of
by-
the evening.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like I love obviously, and I don't mind. I like can't go out at the moment. I can't drink, so I'm like, I'm happy to do chill things during the day with
Yeah.
your babies.
You're like,
Like,
I'll babysit them.
I'm,
You
I'm
go.
also like I love going to bed at 10
Emma's
p.m.
available for
Like, I don't
babysitting.
mind.
Great. Good to
I am
know.
actually babysitting next week.
I am actually a really great babysitter, and I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I like kids, despite everything I've said on the past 7 episodes or whatever. I just don't. I
Want
never
them
wanted my
yourself.
own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have kids. I took them to the park this morning, changed their diapers, and gave them carrots and left. It was great.
I was talking
Okay.
about dogs.
Yeah, just for anyone that didn't pick up on that. Okay, well, this was a fun episode. Kind of sad a little bit.
It is sad.
It's
All
not
breakups are-
sad. They'll come back.
Friend
if they're
breakups, I
supposed
think,
to.
are harder than romantic breakups
I
because you
agree.
thought they were supposed to be there through thick
Well,
and
I
thin.
actually think it's that we're never told
Don't
that
think about
they're
it.
seasonal.
I was gonna say.
Like I think that also female friendships, like close female friendships, are like more amazing than like a lot of romantic relationships, especially ones that like last decades. So I do think that like if you were to break up with them, you've gone through more life with your friends a lot of the time than you have with say a romantic partner you dated for 2 years.
I don't want to end the episode yet because I have a quick story. My
Okay.
mother, who is 70, had a friendship breakup. Her friend of like her whole life, well, like her whole adult life, who I never liked. And when it finally happened, I was like, thank the lucky whatever. Because honestly, the point is that this friend was kind of crappy the whole time. All of this is to say, if you're thinking about quiet quitting, if you think your friend is going to change, they're probably not. So honestly, don't wait until 70. Like, don't wait until 70. Like,
break up with them before they break up with
them.
you.
Break up with
Yeah.
them, but also, again, just go back to like, what is the nugget of truth in your relationship? Are you good to each other? Are you kind to each other? Is there reciprocity? Is there honesty? Like all of those things. But you could be 70 with a crappy friend that you should have broken up with 14 decades ago.
And also, there's going to be like any relationship, there are rocky periods. And so ultimately, it's like you have to figure out, like, can you do conflict resolution? For me, all of my best relationships are people that I'm actually able to have a conversation with. My needs are being met, and so are theirs. And I think that things start to feel resentful, one-sided. You want to quiet quit when something feels one-sided.
But also,
So
everything
it
that you're saying is the transfer of responsibility from, I find that people like put responsibility on their friends that is really not your friend's responsibility. Like,
Yeah.
you need room to be a parent, to be a partner, all of those things. So your
Yeah.
friends should be like,
Respectful of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. It is sometimes kind of, I think that going back to the feeling of grief around like friendships or friendship changes, it is sometimes like a lot of the time you're just like almost mourning the like era of irresponsibility that everyone had when they were in their 20s. And that's very fair to, I think, be sad about because you're like, wait, did I do enough of it? Like, did I make the most of it when I had it kind of thing? But no, I agree. I agree with both of you.
I didn't like White Lotus this season, but the female friendships part was interesting.
I was like, where are you going with this?
I was like,
Wrong question.
Television. On the next
She wants to get back
episode.
to revenge.
that was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
so much.
everyone. Thanks for calling.
And always remember, if you like this episode, to subscribe, to follow us on Instagram, and to, leave us a review. Those actually really
stars.
help, apparently. Yeah,
Don't
5
quiet
stars.
quit us. Leave a
Don't
review.
give us 4 stars. Give us 5.
Yeah, no quiet quitting of Can I Call You? Active participation.
Thanks.